Hey everyone, welcome to God Made Self-DrivenPodcast. This is your host, Dustin Bertrand. This is a podcast that explores the transformative powers of faith, family, finance, fitness, and fun through the lives of everyday people. We're rooted in a Catholic worldview. However, we welcome all people from different backgrounds and beliefs in this spirit of unity, curiosity, and inspiration. And I'll be honest, today I'm excited. I got a friend, local legend. He's a father, husband, dad, brother. He's Brad Bohr. His name's Brad Bohr, and he's been in my life for a while. He didn't really probably know. We'll talk about that a little bit. But I'm just excited to kind of, hear the heart and the mind of someone who purely loves the game of basketball and makes it fun for all levels, from our peers to to the younger generation. So without further ado, I just want to welcome Brad. What's up, my man?
Not much, man. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Enjoying the studio, your house, man. Nice, man.
I know.
Appreciate it.
I appreciate you, brother. And listen, we're going to talk about faith, family, finance, fitness, and fun in many episodes. But today I want to highlight the fun and the love of the game of basketball in your life. Like I've already said, we know, or I know at least, you're a local legend at UL. You're a phenomenal athlete at St. Thomas More High School. I know Coach Danny, who coached you in high school and whatnot. So we're really connected in many different ways. And so before you were that guy on campus and whatnot, where did this journey start? Because that's part of you that I don't know. So,
Yeah, I'm born and raised Opelousas, Louisiana.
okay.
Started basketball at a very young age. My mom was really involved a lot in the school that I attended, Acadiana Prep elementary school. We were allowed to play basketball in the fourth grade. So you had a fourth, fifth, sixth grade team. My mom was one of the coaches, and head coach was Ann Oye. So we had two lady coaches
What?
that coached our boys, elementary teams. And, once you got into about the sixth, seventh, eighth grade, you could hear, like, when you'd come into a gym and warm up, and other teams like, oh, they got two lady coaches, and then we would beat them, So it was like, it was just always just looking back at that, that's what really started me in loving the game, was my mom and Miss Ann Oye, that, they just instilled fundamentals. And winning is fun, so we won a lot, so that was fun, but just having those two coaches that just took the time to, Miss Ann Oye was retired from the public school system and coming back to a private school to helping out and stuff. So that's really kind of where it all started in Opelousas, Louisiana. Fourth grade, I can remember playing elementary basketball, and then moving all the way up through eighth grade. And then, once eighth grade finished, and just decided to go to St. Thomas More.
Yeah.
And,
So was you before we get to high school? Was your mom like a good athlete? Is that
yes,
why she
actually,
could coach?
my mom was a softball player, basketball
Okay.
player. My dad was a good athlete too. He was a
Okay.
baseball player as well and stuff. My dad worked a lot. We ran a convenience store. He was a superintendent of a power plant back in the day. So my mom was always the one that bringing us to the practices.
Yeah.
She coached all our baseball teams growing up in Opelousas, throughout the parks and Little League and stuff like that. We always had a good team, but I always just remember my mom always teaching me how to throw, teaching me how to shoot. And then constantly hearing that in games, when you're not holding your follow through, Brad, just she was my coach all the way through college. She
Wow.
just was always there, just coaching and stuff. And she was a good athlete. She played a lot growing up with the boys, so she
Yeah.
was a tough lady. And just having that both my parents were always there, but my mom
Right.
was always the one bringing me here, there, 2 hours before a game to go get infield, to go hit some balls, extra balls, or go shoot before a game. So
Yeah.
she dedicated a lot to me and my older brother, just sports, and raising us right and making sure that we always say this, we never got too much that we wanted, but we had everything we needed.
Come
So
on. I
I
like that.
appreciate that for her, for sure.
So all right. So your mom coaches you all through elementary, younger years, and y'all decide to go to what, St. Thomas More High School?
Yep. Yep. The story is, people say, oh, we just talked about that. Oh, they recruited you to go to STM. That's not the case by any means. I
Okay.
played AAU basketball with some friends of mine, sixth, seventh. Going into that eighth grade year, I start hearing the kids on my team saying, man, we're going to St. Thomas More. Guys like Matt Busbus and Rick Kennedy, good friends of mine to this day. And I said, well, they said STM. They would say STM, STM. I was like, what's STM? And oh, it's the Catholic school that the feeder schools go to, and they got a good coach named Danny Broussard. I had no clue who Danny Broussard was, anything like that. Um, and then I was like, man, I kind of want to go there. I was at a small school. Acadiana Prep went from elementary all the way to high school.
Okay.
And seventh and eighth grade, I was actually able to play on the varsity basketball team because of the numbers. They were lower numbers in high school, and I was pretty good.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they let me play. But eighth grade year, I'm getting boxing one, and we're losing all these games. Like, man, our basketball program it just wasn't up, to
Yeah.
the level I was trying to go to get to college. I wanted to play college basketball since fourth grade,
Yeah.
and so this opportunity came about to attend STM, and the rest is kind of history. That just made that
Yeah.
decision. I wanted to be over there, and once I got there and met Danny
Yeah.
Broussard, I
Yeah.
was in heaven. I mean, just that whole basketball program was elite, and still to this day.
Right.
So very thankful for the opportunity to get to go there,
Yeah.
and thankful for the opportunity that get to play for Danny Broussard.
So were you like in elementary, like leading up to high school? Were you like, I mean, I don't know if people know this, but I mean, you're fairly tall.
Yeah.
So was that always the case,
Yeah, I was
or
always the taller one in my grade, and
yeah,
and having uh my mom as the coach, and also Miss Anno, you could see it right as she'd watch me practice, whatever. I could dribble and I could shoot, so I wasn't just the tall one where I got the rebound and had to throw it to the
yeah?
little kid to bring the ball up. No, they allowed me to dribble.
Oh
So I
wow,
was never a center or a forward. I was always a guard, like tallest one on my team, played the middle of the zone or guarded the other team's biggest player. But I could bring the ball up. They allowed me to dribble and pass and shoot, so that just that just expanded my game as
I
an
was about to say,
overall,
looking back,
yeah,
how unique and providential that
yeah.
was for
Yeah,
where
oh,
it went.
I mean, because all the other I got friends to this day that may have played at Acadiana or Lafayette
Yeah,
High, whatever, all 6'3", 6'4",
you already
six
know what they,
five.
yeah, you know what they were gonna play
They played center by the goal.
every time.
Now, 4 and 5 years later, once those guys finished high school ball and they'd play us in Girard Park, their game was just getting started,
Yeah,
and but they played center in high school, so they were limited, and
yeah,
scholar people don't want 6'5" centers, six
that's
five
right.
power forwards, so they were just limited. That's why I'm just thinking, even going to St. Thomas More, get there, I'm getting into 6'3", 6'4", 6'5", and Danny still allowed us to be the guard, shoot the threes,
Man, that's
play
awesome.
facing the goal. That was Danny's biggest thing. He wanted all his players to face the goal, play on that perimeter, run that five-man motion. So that took my game to another level of learning that motion and, really
Yeah.
good set plays and just the fundamentals of high school basketball. We really, helped out a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you kind of said it. As people know now, Coach Danny Broussard, Hall of Fame coach in the state. Now
Oh yeah.
he coached the All American game. I mean, that's
Unbelievable.
unreal.
Unbelievable. Yeah. It's just phenomenal.
So okay, before we get to the meat and potatoes, I'll have to ask you. Growing up when you got into high school, like who was your favorite player? Who would you trying to model your game after when you got to, when you got to
Uh,
Coach Danny and all that?
you know, um,
Because I know who
grow,
you would like to model.
yeah.
If you were growing up right now, I mean, we're not gonna get there because we won't
Uh,
get through the podcast. I know who you really likes right now, but we're not back
the guy's
then.
getting to the end. I'm not to
Yeah,
pick a
well,
new favorite player, but actually, as a kid,
you know.
I had an aunt that was a huge LSU fan,
Okay.
and I wasn't really a Pistol Pete. I was too young. I didn't know who
Yeah.
Pistol Pete was, but she
Yeah.
would see my games. She'd start calling me that Pistol too. I'd make
Uh-huh.
fancy passes and shoot a lot. So I was, drawn into what's the Pistol Pete, and I like the stories. And okay, I like Pistol Pete, but I really was a Reggie Miller fan. I like to come off the screens and shoot the threes and,
Yeah.
grab my
I
neck
could
and
already
pop my
see it.
shirt and stuff
Yeah,
like that,
and
like Reggie
the
Miller,
leg kick.
and the
Now I'm
leg
starting to
kick,
understand.
and Reggie played with a little flair. He had some
Yeah.
swag to him, but he could really shoot the ball, and and you were getting the ball to Reggie to shoot, score the ball, and so that's what I kind of made my game after. People would like say Larry Bird because I had a funny release or whatever above my head on my shot.
Yeah.
Never really was like a Larry Bird fan. Too young once again
Yeah.
to like watch him actually play. But Reggie Miller, seeing those games versus the Knicks in the playoffs and the battles with Spike Lee and the crowds and stuff, I really enjoyed that. So I really tried
Yeah.
to mimic my game, shooting a lot off the move and off the dribble like that, kind of like Reggie Miller did.
Yeah. Well, cool, man. So you get to STM, and I'm assuming STM was a lot bigger than Acadiana Prep. So, like, how was that transition? You're a freshman. You're the new kid on the block, right?
Yeah, yeah. It was playing AAU with those guys I mentioned earlier. They were
Yeah.
all going to STM. So when I got there, they, of course, they introduced me to all the new people, whatnot. But
Yeah.
man, going from Acadiana Prep 8th grade with 25 kids in the grade to St. Thomas More with 150, 200 kids in the grade. For the whole first year, I would see somebody new every day, or be in a class with somebody new that, okay, how you doing now? So once after that year kind of settling into the routine of what St. Thomas More was about and going to mass once a week
Yeah.
over there.
Yeah.
I grew up Catholic,
Yeah, but it
and
was different.
but my private school wasn't a Catholic school, so we didn't do that. But going to mass, just getting used to all those things at a big school. It took a little while, but I really enjoyed it. It was just something new, as a kid. It's like a kid in a candy store getting dropped off.
Yeah.
Mom dropped me off at school every morning. We drove from Opelousas
Wow.
to the south side of Lafayette every morning. And and went to St. Thomas, and it was way harder. The academic part was a struggle at
Yeah,
first. I
100%.
wasn't a bad student. I was all
Yeah,
A's and B's at my private school. Coming to St. Thomas More was a whole
level
nother
up.
level. Yeah, you had to really buckle down and actually study and
Yeah,
and do your homework and get stuff done. And so that was a challenge, but I enjoyed it. It kind of set me up for the college, the education in college,
yeah, yeah.
which was really way easier to me versus St. Thomas More High School.
Yeah.
So like
Yep.
I said, I enjoyed it. It was really great times meeting a lot of people to this day that are really established in the community.
Yeah.
That's one of the biggest things I take away from going to St. Thomas More is the connections.
Yeah.
Besides playing for Danny Broussard and having a lot of
100%.
success of winning a lot of games, the connections of all my friends this day that are 40, 45 years old, they're the people in the community that own different things. And
Yeah.
it's just a good connection that we made while attending that school with those
Yeah.
kids.
So you get there, you're adjusting and whatnot. Do you remember your first practice at STM? Do you remember, or the first practice where you realize, oh wow, like all right, this is gonna be
Oh
good.
yeah, I was a little, I'm coming from a small
Right.
town, a small school where I'm the guy. I'm like the next dude on the team. He's good, but he's not nearly as
You
good
could
as me.
tell. Yeah. Yeah.
Now I'm at St. Thomas More with a tryout of 60 kids, all trying to play for 10 spots on a freshman team. And
Wow.
I remember to this day, my good friend Richard Fournette, we called him Bum. We're matching up on this little one-on-one drill, and they throw you the ball, and Richard would have to come guard you. And he was so like athletic and just he was wild. But I already knew. As soon as I caught the ball, jab one way, go the other way. Man, he bit on that jab so hard, and he was like, he tells me to say, "Man, you're so fast and quick." No, I wasn't. I could fake
Yeah.
good.
Right.
I
Right.
wasn't that fast. I wasn't
Yeah.
that quick.
You were
But
just
I
too
knew you was
amped.
gonna bite on it. He's too amped, and
Yeah.
he went left, I went right,
Yeah.
and people told me the story that I had a funny shot. My form was funny,
Okay.
but it went in,
Yeah.
and the freshman coaches at STM, Tud Schwartz and Mike Bourgeois, they were all big on shooting form
Right.
and proper form, and they're telling me this story years later. He said, Danny came into practice and said, "Hey, leave him alone. It
Wow.
goes in. Don't try
Just
to fix his shot. It
right.
goes in. Leave him alone."
Just another
So
testament to Coach
yeah,
Danny.
he
And
wasn't
that's a
trying to
nugget I didn't even
control.
know. Yeah.
Once he said, man, he can really fill it up. He said, don't mess with his shot. Don't
Wow.
try to adjust his form. I still worked on
Of course.
my
Yeah.
form and
Yeah.
form
As a
shooting
shooter, you're
like
gonna
that
do
to,
that. Yeah.
and it was really a strength thing. I kind of like slung it up from the left side because I shot from far, but it wasn't as strong. And once I got to STM, got on the weights and stuff, was able to move that form a little bit. But
Yeah.
he wasn't just like, you need to shoot like this or this is the best way to shoot it. He knew like just let him play, and I was thankful for that because I was outside. I wasn't a feeder school kid.
Right.
I was coming in to compete against the five best Fatima kids, the
That's
five best
right. Who
Cathedral
all
kids
knew each other,
who
were
all
battling
knew
with
each
each
other,
other.
and they
Yeah.
played that Danny system
Yeah.
and the defense and stuff. So it was but I enjoyed it. I was like, this is new. This is like way better basketball than I've
Yeah.
ever been a part of. So it just was exciting every day.
All right. So did it take you a year, 2 years, three? When did you get the starting position? I guess you can say, or some good playing
Yeah,
time
yeah.
with all these new athletes.
Freshman year started on the freshman team. And STM is just freshman basketball.
Okay.
If you happen to be really, really good and live in
Yeah.
the STM zone, you're allowed to play like varsity
I
sports.
understand.
But most of the kids just play freshman sports. So coming into my sophomore year, like I'm ready now. Like I'm mapping out who's starting next year. I'm getting one of them spots. Like I've never not started. On
Right.
any team I can remember back since fourth grade, I always was a starter. And they had a few seniors, but once again, Danny plays the best players. And once he saw us in practice, and I was one of the better, I was one of
Yeah.
the best five that should have been out there, or one of the,
The rotating
the
six. Or, yeah.
rotating,
Yeah.
yeah, right
Yeah.
in there. So I ended up starting from the first game my sophomore year, which is, and I just say this about myself: if you can go to St. Thomas More in a football or basketball and play a little as a sophomore,
Yeah.
you're
You're doing
pretty
something.
good.
Yeah.
You're
You know something.
starting as a sophomore. That's a pretty
Yeah.
impressive deal
For
because
your
there's so many
future.
good players and juniors and seniors and stuff like that. So was able to start sophomore year and just the crowds at the game was nothing I had experienced in high school playing at the little small school in the student section and they
Yeah.
break out the newspapers and booing the other
Oh,
teams.
yeah.
It was just a great experience. But sophomore year getting into that starting lineup, that was a goal of mine. I'm gonna start,
Yeah.
and it worked out and started my junior year, senior year, and rode it all the way out.
All right. I know the answer to this question, but I'm asking anyway. Did y'all win a state championship?
So she must have talked to my wife before I came over here, huh? Because she went to Turling. And she's a state champion.
No.
I told my kids
Okay.
yesterday. It's funny you brought that up, man, because we are. I'm reminding my kids at my school at LRCA that Calvary Baptist is setting the standard. They beat us in the playoffs last year. They're
Okay.
number one team in the state. Um, And I also lost a state championship in the state finals. Who actually we played Woodlawn yesterday in football, and the coaches over, I was letting them know, hey, Woodlawn beat me in the state final. It doesn't bother me anymore,
No, but
but I
yeah.
got good friends that played for Woodlawn that they remind me every time I talk to them, hey, you remember when we beat you in the
Yeah,
state?
that's the
Yes,
bothering part.
yes, I do remember. I do to this day, So losing a state championship game was at the time was, oh my God.
Yeah, it's
I
like,
thought I let Danny down. I thought I let the school
yeah,
down, my teammates down, and they all felt the same way
yeah,
too, that they
yeah.
let the school down and
What year
stuff.
was
But
that?
1999,
Okay.
so 26 years, 27 years ago, in the Cajun Dome. One of the first few years they had switched the
Really?
top two into the Cajun Dome. 11,900 people at the game, high school
No
game.
way.
Unbelievable crowd, like one of the biggest ever to play in the Cajun Dome for a high school event. And then to come up on the short end of the
Yeah.
stick right there
Oh my
was,
God.
I just gonna remember that for life. But anytime me and my wife get to talking about basketball, her ending shut down the conversation is, did you ever win a state title? Because I did, and it's
That's how
okay.
she says
You're right.
that?
Oh, that's how she says.
Oh,
Oh, she lets me know
oh, you married the right one
all the
then. You married
time.
the right one.
Not only state championship in basketball, she's also a state championship in pole vault as well, and just a
Really?
phenomenal athlete. So, but
Well,
the
let's segue to that real
the
quick.
the okay, go ahead.
Before we get to that, where did you meet her? Was that in high school, college?
I'm 5 years older than my wife.
Okay.
So my senior year in high school, senior year in college, she
Yeah.
was a senior in high school.
Okay.
She was 18. We
No,
had seen each other. She had came to a game or
yeah,
something, and I
100%.
didn't know she was in high school at the time or
Yeah.
whatever. And then next thing I know, she, talking this or that, and I'm still in high school. And I was like, oh, okay, and then and kind of just stayed in touch. And then
Yeah,
once she
yeah.
got to college,
Yeah.
the following year, or the year after, maybe it was like a year or two, we kind of started dating again and just
Yeah.
kind of rode it on out to where we are
That's
to
awesome.
today. But obviously you're gonna want an attractive
Of
girl,
course.
and a bonus is that she's an athlete,
Yeah, she could talk
and
the game with you.
yeah, and she was a sports person, and
Yeah.
that was all. That's what attracted me to her. Yes, she was good looking, but
Yeah.
she was athlete. Not I'm thinking down the road, I want my kids to be athletes. So
Yeah.
what better to
Oh
get
yeah,
another
married
athlete?
one,
So
100%.
it worked out good. We got three beautiful girls together,
Yeah.
and so we and she's still involved with basketball to this day and
That's
stuff.
awesome.
So it worked out well.
That's great. All right. So y'all didn't win a state title. That was in '99.
Yep.
11,000 people packed the Cajun Dome. We know more about your high school career. What's the most points you ever scored in a game in high school?
Well, the funny thing is, at St. Thomas More, the highest I ever scored was 37.
Okay.
School record's 41. Me and
Oh,
Danny.
you could have got that. That's
No,
two shots for you,
we'll
man.
tell you the story,
That's
right? It's
just
two
two
shots,
shots
and
for
I'm
you.
in there,
That's
man.
two
So
shots for you right here. 3 ball.
Danny doesn't recall it this way, and I talked to him about it a few
Of
years
course he
back.
doesn't.
Few years back,
Yeah.
if you don't really know,
Yeah.
me and Coach Danny, when I played for him in high school, great coach.
Yeah.
We butted heads a lot.
I can see that.
And
Just the
I'm
passion.
fiery, he's fiery.
Oh yeah.
But he did it in a way, I didn't know it at the time, but he did it in a way to make me better.
Mhm.
Because every time he got on me about something and I thought wasn't that, why are you on me about that? I would get mad. And then I
Yeah.
would go on to hit 2 or 3 shots in a row or steal the ball or something. So I understand now the method to his madness, because I do it now to some of my better players, like kind of,
Yeah. Which ones
rib
to
them a
kinda,
little
yeah,
bit.
yeah.
So years pass, and a few years back, I'm talking to Dan. I say, you pulled me out that game. What you talking about? I said, man, I had 37 against. I remember to the day, because when I got to St. Thomas More, the first thing I did was get
You
that.
looked up the
I get
no
that
way.
Sunkist shootout media thing, and I look at all the records.
Come on.
I want to break the 3-point record, the scoring record.
Yeah.
That's just how I was. I wanted to do all that,
Yeah.
And I knew there was 41 or whatever. That's my junior year now. So 37 points, 3.5 minutes, maybe 4 minutes left to go in the game. We are up by 15 or 20 points against Vanderbilt Catholic in the Cajun Dome. We're playing a showcase game in the Cajun Dome, high school game. Come down, I missed the shot, a 3 to get to 40, and the ball goes out of bounds, and I hear, and I look, and the guys come sub out, Brad. He's putting the subs in to get their minutes, whatever.
Yeah.
And I was right at that point, I was like, oh, I was mad. Oh, I was mad because I just, like you said, 2 more shots or a layup
Yeah,
and a
you
3,
did,
and
yeah.
I'm gonna break the record, and I guess at that point, really, that was probably selfish of me, because
Right, I understand.
those other guys that practiced every day with us, and they needed a shot to play in the Dome. So
100%.
years later, I understood. At the time, I was mad, and then me and Danny talked about it, and he was like, "Man, I didn't know that you had that," And I was like, "Danny, it was up there, 37 on the the Cajun Dome tracks your scores up there," and
Yeah.
we laughed about it. So in high school, 11th grade was 37.
Awesome.
In 7th and 8th grade, when I played high school ball, I scored 40 two or three times, 41 one time
Come on,
and
man.
40. I went to a little school,
In Berwick or something?
Singer, Louisiana. So we
on.
traveled to Singer, Louisiana to play Singer High School, and everybody on the way there talked about Judy Clark. And if you're not a big basketball guy, you might not know who Judy Clark was,
No.
but she was a phenomenal high school player.
Okay.
And she was a senior at the time. And they were like, man, this girl over here, and our girls team was going playing Judy Clark, Judy Clark, Judy Clark. And she was phenomenal. Could jump shot for a girl, jump off the ground and
Wow.
shoot. And
Yeah.
so, but the story is, we went over there, everybody talking about Judy Clark, but when everybody left, they were talking about Brad Boyd because I had
Hey.
12 threes in the game as an eighth grader, 41 points. We beat the boys team or whatever. So that was my high score, technically in high school. Was before I
Yeah.
really got to high school. My high
Yeah.
score was 41. A few times I did 40 at Bayou Chico, another small school that
Yeah.
was in
Yeah.
our
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
district.
Yeah. Yeah.
And but you know, when you get to St. Thomas More, if you
Competition.
and if you score 20 points at a St.
Right.
Thomas, that's almost like 30 or 40
That's
because
correct.
the system they play, share the ball a lot. It's not just one guy coming down jacking shots up, you know.
Yeah.
So you know, it's both phenomenal scoring feats, but I
Yeah.
really wanted that STM record. I'm tied for second. Me and Britt Mouton
Yeah.
uh is tied for second. Actually, the crazy thing is I had tied the record now that I'm thinking about it at 37.
Got you.
Subbed out the game. Brandon Mouton, a few games later in district, scored 41 against Opelousas. And my brother says this all the time. How do you remember all these things? And anything
You
with
love the game,
basketball,
man.
you can name me a city in Louisiana.
Yeah.
I'm going to name you a basketball player from there that I know or
Yeah.
can relate to. So
You love the
Brandon
game.
ended up setting the record in a district game against Opelousas, and he had a phenomenal game. And it wasn't
Yeah.
like we just were blowing him out.
You
It was a
needed every
tight
bucket. Yeah.
game, and you know he played the whole game, and you know so 37 at STM is a pretty
That's
good
very
deal,
solid.
you know. So,
Yeah.
but like I
Yeah.
said, just fun times, man.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
hooping and loving the game.
Well, I was, it organically got there, but I was gonna say you had some pretty good teammates at STM.
Oh, for
You
the
already dropped
best.
one of them,
Yeah,
but
Brandon Mouton. I mean, in my opinion, you know, a lot of people like to say Lyle Mouton was the best ever to play at STM, but I
yeah,
think it was Brandon. I mean, going on to Texas,
yeah,
going to the
I
Final
remember that.
Four, battling Carmelo in the Final Four,
Yeah,
being a starter for, I think Brandon started for 3 or 4 years at Texas.
yeah,
But I also had great teammates, John B. Avenue,
yeah,
Jonathan Edmond, Britt Broadhead, Philip Brubrocker, Seth Hayes, just a bunch of gritty guys
yeah,
that few of those guys could have went to play college ball, but
yeah,
chose, you know, the college route. And I think John's a physical therapist now.
yeah,
Philip
yeah.
Brubacher, you might know Philip
I do know
Brubacher in the
Philip. I
ministries
just
and
got the
does,
dude. I
you
just got
know,
the chills,
you
man.
two guys are really, really
Yeah,
similar guys, man,
very
of
much
what
so.
y'all do and bring to the table, you know. And Philip was he was a left-handed point guard. He was
Yeah,
really good. And like I say, Rick Kennedy, me and Rick Kennedy, we have the same birthday, November 27th, right?
wow,
And every time I talk to Rick, I always say, man, thank you, Rick. And he laughs because he knows what I'm talking about. And his kids play at our biddy program now. So anytime I see him, if there's somebody standing by us, I'll call him over and I say, you know, this is Rick Kennedy right here. And they're like looking like, oh, who is Rick Kennedy? I said, Rick Kennedy set me 10, 15 screens every game. Every game. How I got open to shoot a lot, Rick Kennedy set the screen.
that's
Or
wild.
Rick Kennedy got the ball and knew
Yeah,
I don't want to shoot it, pass it to Brad,
yeah,
you know.
yeah,
So you know, having a teammate like that and multiple guys like that sacrifice for the team. So me and Brandon could shoot, or
yeah,
Brandon can get the backside lob. Somebody had to set the screen for him, somebody had to pass it to him. So
yeah.
that's what makes up the St. Thomas More. Yes, they're always gonna have a good one or two really, really good guys, but the rest of the team is really the backbone of what St. Thomas More is, you know,
A
the
group, a
you
group
know,
of selfless men.
oh yeah, oh
Yeah,
yeah. Every year the
yeah,
same way. They
yeah,
sub them in off the bench. It's no drop off. You know, it's just
yeah,
like hard nosed kids that are just
yeah,
dedicated to St. Thomas More basketball, and that's what makes them great, and that's what made us great while we were there.
yeah.
You know.
Cool. So, all right, man. Fortunately, y'all lose the state championship, but you have an amazing career. Obviously, you're teammates with Brandon. He's going to the next level. When did you realize that you'd have a chance, or how did that come about? I mean, I know where you end up being, but
Yeah. You know, junior year, sophomore summer, junior summer. Those are the two biggest. I tell kids and parents all the time. That's the two biggest summers when you go and play AAU basketball, travel basketball, trying to
yeah,
get recruited. Um, very grateful for a guy named Charlie Artemall.
okay,
And I got to mention another guy too. A guy named Bill Busby started us off in sixth grade AAU. He owned Lafayette Ace Transportation. His son played on the team. He paid for everything.
wow,
AAU these days, every kid has to pay to play AAU. Back then, Mr. Bill paid for everything. And he wanted a good team, and we traveled all over, whatever. So
Yeah.
you don't really get recruited in 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th grade. It's really that
Yeah.
10th grade summer, 11th grade. So 10th grade, 11th grade summer, I jump on the Louisiana Stars team by a guy named Charlie Artemont. All the basketball gurus in the area and the state know who Charlie Artemont is. He passed away, but he was an old man. He was a mud engineer, but he loved basketball so much that his money he would make from being a mud engineer, he would spend it on
In the community for
taking the
basketball.
kids, going pick up kids from Grambling and Southern and Lafayette and Alexandria and bringing them to Lafayette to practice a few times. And he had been doing this for years. He won a couple national titles on the AAU scene. So getting with him that sophomore summer and going to Des Moines, Iowa for the AAU Nationals. And back then, AAU Nationals was like the 80, 90 best teams in the country. It's not kind of watered down now a little bit, but if you went to AAU Nationals, those were the best teams in the country. So go to Des Moines, Iowa, and it's funny thing. I had a girlfriend at the time, and he knew that, and he named the play my girlfriend's name to mess with me. You know what I'm saying? Just to mess with me, hold me, whatever. So we're calling this girl's name. I run these plays, and I had 2 or 3 huge teammates from Peabody, played at Peabody High School, and they would set these screens for me. Another guy, big guy from Grambling, Donovan Modest, Kedrick Williams, Reggie Rambo. Those are my 3 guys. I could run the baseline and run off screens, and I lit it up that national tournament. When I got home from that national tournament, the letters start coming in.
Wow.
I'm talking from anywhere along I-10, from Miami to USC, Texas A&M, all the Louisiana schools, and that started that recruiting process of, man, now I'm like, man, I always wanted to play college ball, but I was like, I can do it. I'm getting recruited now, and it was that recruiting process was fun too. Like, it was just getting those letters in, filling out those questionnaires, and so then you fast forward to your junior year. Very fortunate to get invited to the ABCD camp, which is the Adidas All-American camp.
Yeah.
Only take 200 kids in the whole country. They fly you to Teaneck, New Jersey. We played at Fairleigh Dickinson College. They make the courts 4 or 5 courts, the best in the country. Well, I get to Fairleigh Dickinson, I get to ABCD, and I'm like, oh my God. If there's 200 people here, I'm like 190.
They good.
It's Gerald Wallace, Orion Green at the time, didn't know who he was, but all these top guys got to follow the Rivals rankings and the Bob Gibbons rankings and stuff, and I'm seeing all these guys. I'm like, oh man, these dudes. On my team at the camp, TJ Ford was the point guard, Texas NBA. Ben Gordon was the 2 guard, UConn NBA. Might not know these other guys' names. Julian Sinsley played at Hawaii, pro player. Eric Saunders played at San Diego State professionally. And then a guy named Marcus Tony L. Seton Hall professionally, right? We didn't know at the time who was going to be pro or not, but I always remember those guys' names. I just rattled all those guys. This was in 1999. That was the starting 5 and the 6 man. But it was a different thing. It was more of a one-on-one type camp. Like, you got the rebound, you went down the court, you made your move, you scored the ball. I'm going to the block, popping out on the wing to catch and shoot.
Ain't nobody
swinging it this way. Better get the ball, Brad. Oh, you got TJ Ford, Ben Gordon, man.
That just hold some space over there.
But it brought me back kind of to a reality of there's levels. And when I got back home, I said, man, I have to work, man. I have to work. Get back home 99, get to senior year 2000, UL goes to the NCAA tournament. They lose to Tennessee, heartbreaker.
Is that with Mouton Starks, or that's
no? That was after Mouton Starks. It was more Reggie DeGray, Lonnie Thomas, Orlando Butler, Blaine Harmon.
Oh, Blaine,
a lot of local legends were on that team. Blaine. They go to the NCAA tournament. They beat Tennessee the whole way, and they lose at the end of the game. And I remember looking at the roster throughout the game. I'm like, everybody's coming back next year. I'm staying home. I'm going to UL. Look at they had a vibe with them. They had a love for them. Everybody loved them in the community at the time. There was the football team was about 2000. Basketball was the sport at the
McNeese
school.
State University was beating up on the football team.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Go Poke, shout them out. Yes, sir.
So baseball really hot at UL at the time, and then basketball was, Jesse Evans came in, win the tournament, go to NCAA. I want to go there. I want to be with those guys, So all my other recruiting, once I told my, I'm gonna live right up the road, Bobby Champagne. He recruited me. He was the assistant coach at UL. So I just took a liking to Bobby. Like, he was just, he actually went to St. Thomas More. Didn't even know that at the time till he told me, I'm going to St. Thomas More too. So it was a connection, and I just wanted to go to UL. And my friends, my close friends are like, man, you crazy, man. You're getting letters from Miami and USC and Texas A&M, and and I was like, I want to stay home. And I
Yeah.
was like, I want to be, at the time, I wouldn't call myself a local legend or anything like that.
No, but you want
I
to be
wanted to
like
stay
in your local
home
community.
and stay here,
Yeah.
and that's what I chose to do, and that's kind of how that whole recruiting process went, and realized like, man, there's like there's
There's levels.
there's me that's pretty good, and there's dudes that are like, y'all
Yeah.
still in high school? Like, man, like it was another level going up to that
Yeah.
Adidas camp and seeing how good the rest of the country, rest of the world is,
Right.
and
Yeah.
kind of put you in your place a little bit, checks
100%. No,
yourself, make
yeah,
you go
yeah.
back and work, which I did. Went right back. I remember getting back from Adidas and like going. We our park hood in Opelousas was
Yeah.
called the Hill, and
Yeah.
that was like a big thing that I used to like to do. And my mom would get a little worried because she's like, I was the white guy
Yeah, yeah.
going back to the hood. But I'd say that to say this: my mom at a very young age, baseball, any team she would pick or
Yeah.
draft in the park system, she picked the best players. She didn't just pick all the white kids and my
Yeah, yeah.
friends. She
Yeah.
picked Everett Henderson. She picked Cal Davis. She picked
Wow.
Poop Dog Jeremy Thibodeau, because she wanted to win and she wanted her son
To
to
know
be on a
how
team
to do
that,
that. Yeah, yeah.
and to interact with, it's not white people and black people, it's just
That's right.
athletes or just teammates, So
That's huge, man.
that set me up going forward to, basketball was a majority,
Yeah,
at the
yeah.
time, at
Oh, yeah,
this time
majority
going
black
for
sport.
majority
Yeah.
black sport,
Yeah.
So your better teams, I want to
Yeah.
be on their team. I just don't want to be with, I want to be on their team.
I
So, and
understand.
still to this day, um, I got black friends, I got white friends, and I
That's
look at
real
them all
big.
the same, But it
Yeah.
started with my mom setting that tone of it's people. It ain't just color, So
That's right,
I look
man.
back at that, and then in college was the same way. All
You're
my
right.
teammates were black. I
Yeah.
loved it. I thought it was the greatest. I would learn new stuff every day,
100%.
lingo,
Yeah, the culture
slang,
and then
culture, and
yeah.
it developed who I was and who I wanted to be, and I still. Like I said, we talk all the time with my former teammates.
Yeah.
We have a group chat that goes, and it's just a clown session.
Yeah,
Like it's like
100%. I already know how
the
that goes.
best. Oh man,
Yeah.
nobody can be bigger than the group,
That's right.
and somebody's gonna let you know, and they
That's
gonna
right.
bring you back down to reality on clowning you.
No,
Man, Brad, remember
100%.
you got that crooked leg, man, and da 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 da. This that you slow as this and that. Yeah, you're right. Actually, you're right. I was slow.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So just
No, that's awesome.
I look back at those things, and that's
So
the
yeah, so you get on campus at UL in what 2000,
yep,
right?
2000. Yep.
And like you said, the world showing you that there's some guys out there, right? So
Mhm.
how was the college experience, man, as a freshman? And how did you work your way up into the starting spot in college as well as we kind of, get to the
It took about
to that
a
journey?
year and a half to feel like up to speed.
Wow,
Oh, I felt so slow. Got to that
moves
first
faster.
college practice. You got Blaine Harmon crossing over, Duncan going to the goal, Duncan, Orlando Butler jumping out the gym. All our post players and forwards were swole, ripped up, and I'm just a little skinny guy, just trying to fit in. But
Yeah,
adjusting to that,
not to
was
cut you off. I want to just segue a little
yeah,
bit on that. And listen, he was an old man now. I call him an old man.
yeah.
Blaine Harmon.
Oh,
Listen, I don't have the basketball blood like you, right? But because of my job and my speaking, I got out in the community. I
yeah.
started meeting more people. And my old basketball coach from high school knew Blaine.
Mm-hmm.
And this was 10 years ago, maybe 12, maybe
Yeah.
13. So he's about 35, 38 at this time, okay?
Yeah.
And just to put in perspective how you must have felt, because how I felt.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we go to Grand Isle. There's like this adult league
yeah.
tournament,
Oh, yeah.
okay? And like
Yeah.
Ross Mouton, you know who these guys
Lane and
some-
them go out there.
they some dogs, some college
Yeah.
players out there. Well, this man's 35, 38 years old, and we playing against these young bucks. They're
Yeah.
like 20, 22,
Yeah.
they running, they talking and all this. And I'm new, man. I'm a golfer at heart. I'm decent at basketball because I can shoot the rock. Went to the Danny Broussard camp.
Yeah.
Got taught by you and
Yeah.
Coach Danny when I was a kid. Like, so I can hold my own. I can
Right.
shoot it, and I'm somewhat quick, but I'm mixed, so I'm not
Yeah.
that quick.
Yeah.
I'm just somewhat mixed.
You got a slow side,
Yeah,
the athletic side.
I got gears, baby. I got gears. So, I'm pumped, because I know my old coach, he out of shape, so I know I'm about to play. I know I'm about to play better than him. But I never met Blaine Harmon. I'm
Yeah.
not into I missed out a little bit on my culture, I'll be honest, because in my own story. So I don't know anything about UL. I don't
Yeah.
know anything about hoopers and all that. So they just tell me this guy played at UL, whatever.
Yeah.
We in warm up, he's just doing this, flicking, just kind of shooting.
Nonchalant, acting like he's not
looking
that
like he ain't
good.
even he tight, like
Uh-huh.
he's not even loose.
Yeah.
Flip flies back. I'm like, how we going? and we got these other dudes on the other side
Yeah,
dunking,
dunking and
hey,
warm-ups, yep.
dunking and warm ups. I'm like, man, what I come out here to do, man? Like, what's happening? Like every now and then he'd go in the lane, like the warm up lane, like flick it. I'm like, I don't know. Hey, listen.
The game
Hey,
started.
hey, they came in. Hey, they tossed it. Hey, Superman came out
Oh,
off
yeah.
the bench. No, it was the craziest thing I've ever seen. I'm
Yeah.
telling you, Brad. Like I didn't travel enough. Hey, this man was coming down. Said, "Hey, he said, I'm cross left. I'm gonna spin. I'm gonna shoot right here. Ba
Yeah.
ba ba. Spin. Sap." I'm
Shouldn't
like, "Wait, what's going on?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "Oh, that's just luck." Yeah, dude, come down, dunk. He said, "Oh, you're gonna have to do more than that. I'm coming back.
Yeah.
Boom, boom. I'm coming. I'm gonna hit it right here on the corner. Ba ba. Boom on the corner. Sap." I'm like, "Oh, ain't no way."
Telling you what
Hey,
he's gonna
listen
do,
to
yeah.
me, Beezy. Listen. By the end of the game, he had like 50.
Yeah.
I had never seen this before. He'd come down, he'd start dancing.
Oh, yeah.
Hey,
Had all the sayings,
hey,
fall back. I
hey,
can hear him
oh,
right now
hey,
saying all his different
hey,
little
glass from like
glass. Oh,
30.
yeah.
I'm
Uh-huh.
like, it was the craziest thing I've ever seen, man.
Yeah.
And I'm a young adult.
Yeah.
So I can about imagine you as an 18-year-old catching this dude in his prime,
You know.
like coming from Acadiana, coming from STM. Like I tell people all the time, like, and I didn't get around. Like this is a guy that's green, dude.
Yeah.
But Blaine Harmon, I've never seen that before in the game.
Oh, yeah.
Like, and then the following game he hit like 23s.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Unbelievable.
this unreal. Because you ain't even
Yeah.
young, And I just had to share that story, man, for the people out there that are listening that gonna be connected to you, know
Mhm.
your story, know the legacy around here. It was unreal, man.
Yeah.
It was unreal.
I lived with Blaine for a little while in college, and then when I first met Blaine, I was 13 years old.
Okay.
Same guy, Charlie Artermo, who I spoke about earlier, is picking us up for a showcase.
Yeah.
Get into an argument with my mama. My mama says, you better walk to the McDonald's for them to pick you up. They don't tell them to come over here. She was mad at me.
Yeah.
I lived about a mile from the McDonald's.
Yeah.
I got out, walked to McDonald's. Here comes Charlie Artermo, a big white van that he rented. And I opened the side door Blaine Harmon sitting right there. And if I don't know at the time when you met him, Blaine had gold teeth. He had some cap golds and some regular gold
Maybe a
teeth.
few at the bottom, but he was kind of done with that, I think.
So he smiling. And he says, "Boy, get in, white boy.
Yeah.
Get in, white boy." That's what everybody used to call me in the basketball scene
of
because I was white boy.
course.
Get in, white boy. And it's like, dang, that's Blaine Harmon because I had watched him as a kid. Me and my daddy would
Yeah.
drive to Rain or Crowley and watch him play, and I was mesmerized. Like he's a high school kid, and I'm like about to go to high school, and I was like, oh, he's like a god. He could do all the fancy
It
dribbles.
was wild, yeah.
It just was good. And then getting to play with him in college, I seen Blaine Harmon in a conference game. Like not just an exhibition game or a game we up by 20 points, a conference game, close game, guys guard him. He does his crossover, but he crosses the dude between the dude's legs and then shoots the 3-pointer and hits it. And everybody was like, before and one
I was
was
about to say,
and
this is
one.
before all this
This
stuff.
this is in 2001, I think.
Yeah.
And it's like, but that was Blaine.
It's
He had no conscience. He had no worries. He was never nervous, never scared of anything,
I'm getting
So
the chills as you
he's one
talk
of
about
my
that.
he's one of my guys that people talk about greats around there. Look, you can go to Rain right now. You could stop at the corner store, pick anybody walking in, and I'll say, "Hey, you know Blaine Harmon?" "Oh, yeah, that's my cousin." Or, "Man, I know Blaine, but I just seen him yesterday." Like Blaine, if Blaine wanted to run for mayor of Rain, he could be the mayor of Rain.
Yeah.
30 years later, after him ever playing basketball at Rain,
Yeah.
he's just that well known and just a good dude too.
Yeah.
That but playing with him, and I would try to mimic some of the things he did. He had
Yeah.
a killer crossover. He could do that little where you fake the pass like that and
Yeah.
still keep the
Dude,
dribble.
you're
Oh
giving
my
me the
God!
chills,
I'm telling you
dude.
because he probably
Like,
did it in the game. He faked
I'm
that pass
telling
like
you,
that.
and it would seem so effortless.
Man, we
was
we
wild.
drove to Crowley one day, me and my dad, to watch Blaine
That's so
Byron Mouton play. Gets a fast break, it's 3-on-1, and he does that move. He does that fake pass where the defender bit on it, and then he, butter rolling like it was just like, shoom, and I was like, as soon as I got home, I got in the driveway, and I'm trying to fake pass like Blaine because I was like, that's excuse me, that
No, I
was
understand.
awesome. You know
No,
what I'm
I
saying?
feel you,
Like
baby.
that was just like, so
Yeah.
Blaine, I could talk about Blaine Harmon all day
Yeah.
long. It's one of my favorite guys. Well, by the way, when we end this, I'm gonna show you a little clip. We did a radio section years ago, probably 2000, 2001, and they asked something about our coach, and he says, "Yeah, Coach Evans, man, he got a seafood diet. All the food he sees, he eats. And I'm thinking, hey, the coach right there. He's clowning the coach.
Ain't that
Blaine
wi-
didn't care though. He just was
No.
he's just a jokester, and
100%.
old Al Boudreaux. Yeah, it's an old Al
Yeah,
Boudreaux had a radio station in Opelousas, and we did a
I've heard that name
probably
before.
before they were calling podcasts.
Yeah, yeah,
It was
like an
just a
interview.
little
Yeah, radio
recording,
interview.
radio interview, but it was like audio. They videoed it
Yeah,
too, and so yeah, we got Blaine Harmon stories
yeah.
for days, man.
Yeah, I just want to highlight that because I can about
Yeah.
imagine as a
Oh yeah.
19-year-old seeing that guy or seeing
Mhm.
those guys,
Yep.
as you develop. So took you about a year and a half to get into the certain spot,
Yeah,
and
just and working out too, like getting on a day to day, working
yeah,
out weights and running and stuff. Getting into I started as a sophomore, but I played point guard. Our point guard would he'd get into it with the head coach from time to
yeah,
time. He kind of used me as Brad, get him.
yeah,
I'm like, point guard? Like, yeah, play point. I could dribble and pass and set the
yeah,
offense. So I only scored about 7, 8 points a game sophomore year. But get to my junior year, I had adjusted my shot a little bit. We talked about shooting form earlier.
yeah,
I had adjusted my shot a little bit. It was like holding it far back behind my head. So I adjusted it more to right in front of my face
yeah,
right
yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah,
And it just a huge improvement. Well, we get to the first game junior year. We go to Mississippi State. They're 12th in the country. Uh, 9 3-pointers,
Oh, okay.
game winning three.
Oh, we here
Uh,
for it.
if you heard of Chris Jackson before that played at LSU,
Yeah,
Ma'al Abdul Rauf,
yeah.
had the Humphrey with Mississippi State plays in the Humphrey Coliseum. He held the Humphrey Coliseum record, so I was able to break Chris Jackson's record of most 3-pointers in the
Oh,
building, and to beat a nationally ranked team for
you
your
gotta don't
your
do that.
your 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 junior year debut. I
Yeah,
scored 33 points. It was like, man, I'm fast now. I'm
yeah,
really comfortable now. And
yeah,
junior year was phenomenal. Scored a lot of points. Led the team in scoring, all conference stuff like that. Fell short in the conference tournament.
yeah,
Was upset because we was the favorite team, but favorites can
yeah.
get beat sometime. Went
100%.
able to go to the NIT tournament, which was big at the time. You had to get
Yeah,
invited to the NIT
that's
tournament.
right.
So then you go into your senior year, and man, we got a couple transfers in, guys you might know, Orion Green, Dwayne Mitchell, Brian Hamilton, who were phenomenal, all conference guys, came from two SEC schools, and then Brian Hamilton came from Texas A&M, Corpus Christi. So
Yeah,
adding those three guys going into our senior year, I was like, man, we're going to be really good again, and we were. We had about 8 dudes on that team that averaged from like 12 to 10 points a game. So you never knew who to focus in on. You
yeah,
could guard me tough,
yeah,
but then
yeah.
Orion's going to get you.
Yep.
Larry Bridges was good on our team. Antoine Landry, Chris Cameron, the tall Australian guy, was very good on our team. Michael Southall, Cedric Williams. I could name the whole roster of
Yeah, yeah,
dudes that
yeah,
were just dudes.
yeah,
And win the conference tournament that year. One thing I tell people about Lafayette and UL, we were broke. We didn't
yeah,
have a dollar. I
yeah.
had a Ford Explorer. Everybody rode with me anywhere we went to
I remember
practice,
it.
to the club, to everywhere. They rode with me. But Lafayette, the city, old time grocery, all the downtown bars,
Yeah,
McKinley Strip with the
yep,
keg and
yep,
nightcaps and all that.
yeah,
We were treated like NBA players. We were treated
yeah,
like gods. We could walk in free.
yeah.
Uh, weren't supposed to drink too much at the
No, I
time, but if
understand
we needed a
what you're
Coke, a
saying. Yeah,
Sprite, a Bud Light,
yeah,
it was all just free, like
yeah,
it just took care of us with so much love.
yeah,
But a lot of it had to do with guys I went to school with at STM that were running the bars, were running the fraternities,
yeah,
and it just put us on this pedestal like we were just NBA
yeah,
players. But
yeah.
we were broke. We didn't have any money. Thank
Yeah,
God they showed us some
that's
hospitality because we would
correct.
have never went
Would have
out, or
never
we never
got it.
because
Yeah,
we never could afford anything. But
facts.
that love from the city and the university was just a great. I
Yeah.
would go back in a heartbeat to.
Imagine that run right now with NIL.
Oh, I just and look, I love Walker Howard. That's one.
No,
Me and
yeah,
his daddy are cool.
yeah, yeah.
He's going to be the starting quarterback at
Imagine
UL
that run.
football. Well, he gets a BMW from Moss Motors, and
That's
I'm
right.
thinking to myself, man, me and Don Hargrove are like this. I know
Oh yeah,
Big Don would have hooked me
would have
up with
outfitted you.
Explorer or something, a
Yeah,
Navigator or something. I would have had some kind of Brad Boyd burgers and
yeah,
wings, everything $3. You know what I'm saying? To mimic
100%.
the
Yeah,
3 points.
no, I
I've
know,
had ideas
I
like that
know. You're
now,
right.
but I wish I'd have known that back then. But
100%.
I think and guys like the would have
Oh,
just been
it'd
may have
been
been a gift and a curse because it
yeah,
would have
it
got
would
broken off all
it
kind
it
of money
correct. It'd have been a
to
gift and a
manage
curse.
that.
There'd have been a downside, just like there's a
Yeah,
downside to it now.
yeah, giving
Y'all
too
might have
much too soon
correct.
is we might not have worked as
Might have
hard.
facts.
The drive
More
might have been, hey, I'm
distractions.
good.
Yeah,
Continue to get a degree. I might have said I ain't going to
that's
school no
right.
more. So it is a
Yeah.
gift and a curse, but I wouldn't have mind the gift part about it. You know
No,
what I'm saying? Just
100%,
have to,
man.
to manage the curse part about it. But
That's correct.
happy for guys these days that
Yeah,
can get that because it's tough in college to
yeah,
get through college. We used to say a recruit would come in
yeah,
and Robert Lee, the assistant coach of Champagne or whatever,
yeah.
they'd hand you $40 and they'd say,
And
"This is
that
the per diem for the day." And I'm
for the
like,
day.
what are we gonna do? They're like, oh, take them to the movies. I'm like, the movies? Do y'all want them or do y'all not want them? And if they say we want them, I knew what to do then. We go to McKinley, we go to the cave where everything was free. We go to nightcaps where they
Yeah,
showed us so much love. And
yeah,
if you call up Michael Southall right now, he's gonna say that sold me. When
yeah.
I could go to that club and see all
Well,
everybody
yeah,
was, it
everybody was
just was
supporting you and
not even
believed in
really
you.
about basketball. It just
Yeah,
was like, this is how much love y'all get out here,
yeah.
man. I'm coming
The
over there,
belief and
and
the support.
that's how
Yeah,
we got Orion Green and Brian Hamilton
yeah,
and South Hall. Guys like that.
yeah,
So I did a lot for the team, not just play. I was the recruiting coordinator.
yeah,
I brought the guys out. They just knew I was connected. That would have a good time, show them a good time. They knew I wasn't gonna do nothing crazy with the recruits to get in trouble or anything like that, but
yeah,
just having good, clean fun that made some
yeah,
guys convinced to stay and play in Lafayette, and it worked out. We had some, like, still to this day, people are talking about all those crowds, man.
yeah.
Those crowds you had in the Cajun on when y'all played. So with Coach White coming in this year,
Come
everybody
on.
knows Coach Q this year.
Yeah,
He's on the crowds and the
yeah,
being in the community. So we're looking real forward to just that excitement being brought back, to
yeah.
UL.
I've seen you talk about that. Like you seem very secure and excited for UL
Oh
basketball
yes,
and this
yeah.
new, this new
We
path,
just
new
we just
endeavor. Yeah,
signed Hakeem Olajuwon's son.
really.
He's about to play for UL. Now, just think about that. Hakeem
Can you
Olajuwon,
imagine?
Hakeem the Dream. Q White makes that
Gonna be in our
relationship.
gym.
Yeah, he's gonna be in our gym. He just was at the Cajun Dome last week, touring it and looking at it and stuff. I was
Wow.
like, man, that's amazing. So we know that it can be done here, and
Yeah,
it can be done on a bigger, higher level. And I
yeah.
think we're gonna get back to that soon.
Dude, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. Well, listen, so you're closing up your college career and whatnot, and I know you said you always had to work, right? You thought you was too slow, you got speed, you got strong, you got all that good stuff. So did you think overseas NBA senior year it was an option, might have not have been an option? And then when did this coach? I know now that you're into coaching, right? When
Yeah,
did this? So let's maybe take one step at a time. Tell us about the overseas NBA maybe
yeah.
dream, and then
Get to
where
that.
you are now.
Yeah, get to my
Yeah,
senior year in college. Season ends,
yeah.
and I wanted to go to NBA.
Okay, you did.
I was from since a little kid wanted to
Yeah.
go to NBA, play professional basketball. Was very fortunate to go to. I attended like 4 pre-draft camps, is what they used to call them.
Okay.
One with the Hornets at the time, who was in New
Yeah.
Orleans, Houston Rockets, uh, Atlanta Hawks, and San Antonio Spurs. So I was able to spend a little bit of time. The Spurs, I stayed about a week over there working out with. um they had a little setup where you could be the pre-draft camp guys could go in. You could lift the weights and
Yeah.
condition, and then you practice with a few of the guys that would kind of be there hanging out for the summer. Same thing with the Hornets and the and
Yeah.
the and the Rockets and the Hawks as well. And waiting for that draft to happen. My best workout was with the Rockets. I was like, man, I have a shot. Like it's not like you play pickup. You go and
Yeah.
work out against. It was like us 4 in this room right here, all 2 guards. We're gonna go at each other for 2 hours straight.
Wow.
Every drill is gonna be me versus you versus
Yeah.
him. And Houston, I just I felt like, man, I was
Yeah.
I was scoring on guys. I was all the shooting drills. I was finishing first and everything. And Houston had the last pick in the second round.
Wow.
I watched the whole draft. Got to the second round. Watched it a loud bit. As a matter of fact, I was in Little Rock, Arkansas, with rest in peace, my former teammate KJ Kenneth Lawrence was from Little Rock. We was doing a little ABA, trying to make an ABA team for the summer just to stay in shape and stuff.
Yeah.
And watching that draft, and they picked the guy that was at the workout with me in Houston.
Wow.
He was from Manhattan
So
University,
you were close.
and I was like, dang. And then I was started to realize, well, man, maybe, you second guess
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, maybe
Yeah.
I was not good enough yet. And then I had a couple offers to go to, like, I think it was Israel, Lebanon at the time,
Yeah.
and I just took it as myself as an American at that time, white American at
I
the time,
understand.
and in
Yeah.
2004 going to the Middle East, I was a little scared. I ain't
Yeah.
gonna lie.
100%.
I
No, that's
don't think.
facts.
So I decided to come back to school. I wanted to
Okay.
coach. I wanted to coach at UL. Come back to school. Robert Lee at the time, I let me be a grad assistant,
Awesome.
and I should have took schooling more seriously while I was in there playing ball, but I
Yeah.
was having a lot of fun and kind of
Yeah.
slacked off on the schooling. So when I came back, I had 2 years to graduate.
Okay.
About 24 hours.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, 3 semesters, I think it was, to graduate. So came back, got to coach with the team for 2 years, and then graduated. And still to that point, I was thinking I was going to coach at UL. Some things happened. Robert Lee
Yeah.
had to make a decision where he hired somebody with some
Yeah.
more experience. It is what it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
I went into the all field.
Okay.
Salesman. Somebody offered me a job. Here's a credit card. Here's a car
Yeah.
allowance, truck allowance. Here's
Yeah.
this, that. Eat whatever you
Money.
want all
Yeah. The
week. And
stability.
I was, I had a 2-year-old daughter at the house.
Yeah.
I'm doing that. Well, 4 years passed, and I'm like, I don't like this. I don't
Yeah.
like having to go around and shaking people's hands and trying
Yeah.
to beg them for work. And so it's not
Yeah.
me. I
Yep.
want to coach. And I changed my career path right there. I had a friend of mine in Opelousas that was the coach over there. I said, man, I'll bring you in. You could come and teach at the school and do
Yeah.
all the. And I was like, I can't teach at the school. I don't have a teaching certification.
Yeah. All that stuff.
I didn't know at the time it's called a TAT. There's a
Yeah.
TAT
Yeah. Yeah.
certificate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man, you can get, and this guy knew it. You can get
You
on
can
this
get it.
TAT
While you
certificate
teaching, you
while
can
you're
get it.
teaching. You can
Yep.
work on. And I thought, oh, well, I'll get sub pay. It's like, no, you get full
Full.
pay and benefits and everything. Man, sign me up. So he brings me over to Opelousas, and that started my high school, coaching career. That guy was there 1 year. Unfortunately, they let him go.
Yeah.
New guy comes in as the AD or whatever, and at that point, people from around Opelousas, which I'm from Opelousas, like I told you, they were all calling, man, you got to get Brad the job.
Yeah.
Prominent
Yeah.
people in the
100%. Yeah.
Iggy
Keep them home.
Castile and
Yeah. Yeah.
just people that were well known in that city,
Yep.
speaking up for me off of just, yeah, they knew me, but just thought this would be a good hire for Opelousas in the
100%.
town and the city. So I was awarded the job. And me, I go in the community, get all the sponsors and everybody. It was a big deal. We called it,
Yeah.
when the shirts came out straight out of Compton
Oh
or
yeah. Yeah.
straight out
Yeah.
of,
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
ours
Yeah.
was straight out the op. We called it the op, man. We called it the
Okay.
concrete jungle. And man, it was just a thing. Everybody had the t-shirts at all the home
Wow.
games.
Yeah.
We were good. First time I ever beat Danny Broussard was at Opelousas High one night.
Wow.
Hit a shot at the buzzer.
No way.
One of our teammates hit a shot at one of our kids on the teams hit a big shot at the buzzer, 3-pointer to win. And and then the next year did it again. Good team, made the playoffs and everything. And then the South Side thing came up, and they built a brand new South Side
Right.
in Youngsville. I'm living
Yep.
in Youngsville. Didn't want to leave Opelousas,
I know. I
but it
know.
was like, just look at this school, and there's two gyms, and you can do whatever you want with the
Outside.
gyms and everything. So I went to South Side, and
Yeah. They painted the picture.
yeah, paint a picture. It was good. I loved it, but
Yeah.
I really, looking back, I really wish I'd have just stayed at
Take the
Opelousas a
Danny
few
Broussard
more,
card and just stayed,
and
huh?
played a few more years because they had some really good kids coming up in the
Yeah.
in the lower grades, that I knew was going to be really good, and but it worked out. I
Yeah. I
enjoyed my
understand.
path of what it is,
I
but that's
understand.
kind of how I got into coaching. Once I got out the all field,
Yeah.
stopped just chasing the money to
Yeah.
have money to pay bills and support for your family and doing what you love. So still
Yeah.
to this day, I'm a teacher and a coach, and I don't get up in the morning and like, I gotta go to work. I don't even look at it like
Yeah.
that. I'm excited to go to work. As long as I get a little breakfast before I go to a little
Yeah.
sausage biscuit or a ham
Yeah.
sandwich or something before I go to work that day, I love it. And like, yeah, I've been coaching now in this high school system. I think this is my 12th year.
Oh,
So just I'm excited. I'm excited where I'm at right now at LRCA.
okay.
Brand new charter school system they're building. Y'all
Yep.
got one right over here at
Yep. Yep.
VCA and Maurice,
Yep.
Vermilion Charter, and
That's right.
excuse me. So just great things happening for us in the basketball, and just staying on molding kids and
Correct.
helping kids, and that's really what I love, man. Just to help those kids achieve whatever basketball goals they want. But same thing I was in high school is how I am today at my school. I talk to everybody,
Yeah.
and no disrespect to anybody. If you was a nerd in high school or you
Yeah.
was a
No. No.
band
Oh,
person,
yeah.
I
Yeah.
was cool with you.
That's right.
If you was in my class, you sat by me, I would talk to you every day.
That's
I don't
right.
care if you didn't play basketball or not. And the same thing at my high school now where I teach at, I'm in the car ride line in the morning. So I see every kid getting out, and what's up, good morning, dapping up every kid. And now a week's passed, and now all these kids got out the car. What's up, Coach Brad? What's up, Coach Brad?
Yeah.
What's up? So you just
Yeah.
get that good relationship with those kids. Not even the basketball kids, just and I tell my kids on the team, you have to go talk to all them kids. Because
Yeah.
when y'all want everybody to be in the gym, that's the ones that gonna pack the
That's
gym.
right.
Your mom and your dad and your one uncle or
They
cousin
always
come to
come.
the game, that ain't gonna pack the gym. Your student body, your fellow students, those are the ones. You get cool with them, they're gonna come watch you play. And that's how we did it at Opelousas. That's how we did it at Southside.
Yeah.
Pack the gyms, make sure we're in the student body to get them to come out. And some people look at, oh,
Yeah.
you just want the kids to be cool with you. That's not the case. I could care less if they're cool with me or not, but I'm still gonna go out
Yeah.
and present myself to know that they can come talk to somebody,
Yeah.
whatever there is, situation at school,
Correct.
just to have that extension, to make sure that, they're good,
Yeah.
and then the flip side, then I always tell them, you come to the game tonight, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And, oh yeah,
100%.
Coach Brad, we coming, man, we coming rock the student section. That's how they
right.
are now. That's how they was at Southside and Opelousas. They want to be a part of what you're
What you're
doing
building.
and
Yeah.
make them feel included in that. And they're going to come scream crazy at the game and harass the other team and
Yep.
stuff that you need for a good home court advantage.
And I want to just affirm that and attest to that. Like I tell people all the time, or I say all the time, when the conversation,
Yeah.
barbershop talk,
Yeah.
right? Oh man, Brad's vocal on Facebook. I'm like, yeah, I said, listen, but he's been the same dude that obviously he's more mature, he's
Yeah.
has more experience, he's well grounded, well groomed and whatnot. I said, but the Brad I remember when I was 13, 12 years old is the same Brad that I see like in the culture of
Yeah.
basketball and in the community. Like you took, I guess I gotta tell everyone, when I was 13, 12, I remember we hopped in your Ford
Yeah.
Explorer and you took 4 or 5 of us because we didn't want the food that Coach Danny was eating or
Yeah.
whatever, and you didn't either. So we drove off and we went to McDonald's or something
Yeah.
like that, and you were
Yeah.
a nice guy. Like you weren't trying to be like anybody but you know
Yeah.
what I mean?
No
But you
doubt.
love basketball, you love people, you love the culture of basketball, you love what it can provide for you, what it has provided for
Yeah.
you individually. And that's like, one of the reasons why I want you to come on here. Obviously I told you Coach Danny, bailed on me.
Yeah.
No, he didn't bail. We just rescheduled. But
Hey,
I
I will
was
be second to Danny Broussard
yeah,
any day of the week. If you
yeah.
making a list and you got Danny, then you got myself, I will take that
No.
because I learned from the best,
Yeah,
and
100%.
he's one of the best. And I took a lot of what I've learned from him just playing
Yeah.
and how he structures his teams and stuff.
Yeah.
So you can put me on that list any day. If you
Yeah,
ever that can't make it,
yeah.
call me. I'll
Call you,
definitely
no
come.
doubt. And I guess we kind of wrap up with, you do also things on your own, right? Outside of the school and whatnot. And so there's ways people can contact you for basketball skills, whatever, information. I know you
Yeah.
have your own camp. When did y'all start the camp, you and your wife?
Well, my wife runs Acadiana Biddy Basketball.
Okay,
It's a
that's what it is.
huge
Yeah.
organization in Lafayette. We run out of the sports complex in Youngsville,
Okay.
1,000 kids every year, and that's her deal. Like
Yeah. Okay.
I kind of help
You
out when I
support
come
from
to
a
the
yeah,
gym, but
yeah.
that's her deal. I let her do it. People call, hey,
Okay.
what's up with Biddy? Call my wife.
Yep.
Hey, how we do
Awesome.
this? Get on the team. Call my wife. She's the brains. And now,
Okay.
I'm I'm her husband. I'm the
Yeah.
supporting person. I go to the gyms, help them out, whatnot. But also do camps year round.
Yeah.
The camps, the Brad Boyd basketball is something separate that I do. I
Yeah.
host camps and throw tournaments and events and and I wanted to shout out too. I just established a huge tournament. We talked about STM and Danny Broussard.
Yeah.
Once again, seeing how Danny does it with the Sunkiss shootout,
Yeah.
I was able to present my vision of what I wanted to the Coca-Cola people. And I did this at Southside, and then when I
Yeah.
left Southside, we kind of got away from it. But
Yeah.
we're established now the Coca-Cola Classic. So we'll have 16 teams the week before the Sunkiss Shootout. Big, nice tournament.
Awesome.
Also sponsored by Logic Refrigeration HVAC. I have to shout this guy out because this guy randomly hits me up one day and says, back in the day, I would have to put together gas money to drive from Crowley to watch y'all play in the Cajun Dome. And I was like, man, and he says, now I've made some of my life. I got a company and I've done pretty well. I want to help you what you doing. And I was like, man, that's great. And then I pitched him the idea, and he was gonna be the main. This is how nice this guy is. I was gonna name it the HVAC Hoop Fest,
Yeah.
and he was the main sponsor. Well, I had already pitched the idea to Coke. They just hadn't got back to me. And then Coke
Gotcha.
comes back and says, man, we want to be involved with that. If you call it like you did at Southside, you call it the Coca-Cola Classic, we're going to give you XYZ
Yeah.
amount of
Right.
money.
Right.
So I had to call my HVAC guy back. Hey, listen, man, Coca-Cola Classic, that's going to ring bells for years. That's
Yeah.
going to attract other teams to come. Are you okay with that? He's like, absolutely.
Wow.
I'll give you the same amount of money.
Wow.
And the crazy part is he's giving more money than what Coke is,
That's
but
awesome,
he
man.
didn't want to say, hey, what can I give less money since
That's
Coke's gonna be
right.
the title? He didn't even he's like, nah, I still want to help you. And I was like, man, I appreciate it. So we've got something
Testament.
really good with that. Thanks to Coke, thanks to HVAC
Yeah.
refrigeration. I mean, Logic refrigeration, HVAC, just really, that they believed in that vision that I had
Yeah.
about establishing that great tournament at our school, 4 days, big fundraiser. It'll
That's
be
awesome.
those 4 days for us. So I had to definitely just shout out those guys.
Yeah, yeah, man. I appreciate that, man. And I'm a big believer, man. When you give like that, it comes back to you, man.
Oh,
And
yep.
that man knows that probably
Mm-hmm.
from his beginnings to where he is now. He
Yep.
understands that. And we need more people like that.
Mm-hmm.
It takes a village to start any mission, any cause,
Right.
anything great. It takes maybe the guy that wants to do it, but then he needs other people supporting him, man. And,
Absolutely.
in my industry as well, with God Made Self-Driven Ministries, I can't do it
Yeah.
alone. I can go, but I
Right.
need you to help me go. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so I just want to commend y'all, commend your community, man. Y'all continue to support Brad and what he's trying to do for our kids and through the
Yes.
love of
Thank you.
basketball and what it provides for our community and what it's going to provide for them. The work ethic, the character that basketball can develop in the lives of people that maybe not have a dad or don't have a mom or in
Yeah.
an unstable home. The game of basketball with a good coach, right,
Mm-hmm.
and a good leader can take you places that or fill gaps that you may not have at home. And so I always like to ask, every guest, when we wrap it up, you've done a lot in the sense of like, playing at a high level at high school and college and amongst your peers in the pros, and you've met a lot of people and you've seen a lot of things. Give them, the people that are listening, whether it be a quote or philosophy or something that has helped you get to this place in life, and like what has helped you,
Yeah,
like
no
a
doubt. And
motto or
and
something.
and I'm going to talk about the quote that I use right now a lot. I
Okay.
didn't know this quote years ago would help me. There's several quotes and motivational
Yeah,
things that
yeah,
brought me to where it is, but as of right now,
yeah.
and I love this, and it just hit me when I saw it somewhere, and I was like, that's how the world is. That's how a team is. Okay, so it starts like this. It's sometimes it's you, right? You're gonna succeed today. You might come
Mhm.
score 30 points. Sometimes it's you. The next game, I might score 30. Sometimes it's me, always us. So we break down all our huddles, our motivation. I want to get the kids hype, and I say sometimes you, sometimes me, always, and they screaming us. It's like this, and they realize that sometimes it's our kid Turbo. We call him the franchise, but
Yeah,
sometimes it's Bubba, right? So sometimes me, sometimes you, sometimes me, always us. And they get that as like it's a team. He's gonna shine one day. I might shine the next day. He might shine the next day. But if
but
we
always
win,
us.
it's always us. It's always the
Yeah.
team. So right now that's what I'm living by. And even in
Okay.
my family life, sometimes my wife that cooks the meal, sometimes it's me, but we all gonna eat.
Come on,
So
man.
it's like it's just I just thought, and I think I saw it. I think it's a Nike deal or something dealing with Drake or something. I just saw it somewhere,
Yeah.
and same thing with a Danny Broussard and a play that works.
Yep.
I might use it too. If it works, it works.
That's
So
right.
that motivational, that quote right there, the kids love it. You say 1, 2, 3 team, 1, 2, 3
Yep.
me, 1, 2, 3 we, or whatever, all these different
Yeah.
sayings. That's our saying right now. I think we're gonna use it. We started using it during the summer. Kids
Yeah.
love it because they realize sometimes you, sometimes me, always us. So that's
Yeah.
kind of what I live by now, especially being a team sport guy.
Yeah.
You can't do it all by yourself, like you
That's
said. I
right.
can't get somebody to screen. I can't screen for myself. Can't pass myself the ball.
Yep.
It's a team thing, team sport, and I relate basketball and life. It's like hand in hand,
Yep.
ups and downs, and fast break points, and great
100%.
moments and sad moments.
Mhm.
And you can overcome the next play though. Just
Yep.
like if something bad happens the next day,
That's right.
that's why I love basketball. It's 2, 3 games a week. I don't have to wait till Friday. If I lose, I
Yeah.
gotta wait till next Friday to play the football. I tell the football coach, man, if y'all lose a game, more, y'all gotta wait a whole 7 days
Yeah.
to redeem yourself. I might lose on a Friday, play a game Saturday, win, play a tournament
Yeah.
Sunday. So uh, like I said, I like to end that with, sometimes you, Dustin, sometimes me, always us. So that's the
Yeah.
quote that we live by today.
Well, you heard it, guys. Sometimes you, sometimes me, always us. Man, I thank you so much for being here, Brad.
Yeah,
I
thank you too,
your
bro.
time.
Appreciate that, man.
Yeah,
Always,
always.
anytime. Thank you, man.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it.